Alright, so make sure you have this sheet out in front of you, solving systems with elimination. Today we're going to focus on the front side of this and just kind of make sure that we understand kind of how to work through basic elimination. So we've got some steps here that you want to follow when you're doing elimination. The first thing you want to do is there a variable with the same coefficient? So it has the same number in front of it. So let's look at number one real quick. 5, 5. They've got the same number in front of it, actually the same sign as well. Don't worry as much about the sign when you're looking for the same number. But if you notice, the y's actually have the same number in front too, 1, 1. And this is a negative and a positive here. So they're the opposite sign, but they are the same number. All right. The next thing you want to do is, are the variables and the equal signs stacked? So they are stacked. The x's are on top of each other, y's are on top of each other, the equal signs are on top of each other. Everything has to line up when you're doing elimination. And if it's not lined up, then you'd have to either manipulate it to make it line up, or you could do substitution or graphing. So the next step is you're going to add or subtract equations to eliminate one variable. And what you really want to focus on with this is these two things over here. When you have the same sign, you are going to subtract. When you have the opposite sign, you are going to add. And that is for the two coefficients that are the same. So when I'm looking at this one, number one right here, we can pick the x's or the y's. I'm going to pick the x's because they're nice up in front here. And they also have the same sign. They're both negative. Alright, so same sign means subtract. So I'm going to put a subtract sign in front. Draw my line underneath the bottom here, and I'm going to find the remaining, or find the value of the remaining variable after I subtract. So negative 5x minus negative 5x is 0. Those will cancel out. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2y. Negative 1 minus 1. All right? And then negative 5 minus negative 15. This is where you're going to want to use your calculator if you struggle a little bit with subtracting with negatives. Alright, but when you subtract a negative, you're really adding, so it's negative 5 plus 15, which is 10. Alright, now if you look at this, this is a really simple, basic one-step equation. We're going to divide both sides by negative 2, divide by negative 2, and we get y equals negative 5. Alright, and every single time when you go through this, you should get a nice, simple one-step equation that you get to solve after you add or subtract them. Okay. Now I'm going to take this negative 5 that I've got here, and I'm going to plug it into one of these up here for y. So I'm going to say negative 5x minus negative 5 equals negative 5. And if I look at this, minus a negative 5 is actually plus 5. So to get rid of that, I've got to subtract 5. So I subtract 5 over on this side. And then I bring it down. I've got negative 5x equals negative 10. And divide by negative 5 on both sides. And I get x equals 2. So the solution is 2 comma negative 5. If I were to graph these, they would cross. They would intersect here at 2, negative 5. All right? Let's go ahead and try another one real quick. Let's try number 5. All right? If you look at number 5, we've got 2's, we've got 5 and 4, so the 2's are the ones that are the same coefficient, except for they have the opposite sign. Opposite sign, add. Right? So I'm going to put a plus sign in front. Right? And when you put that plus sign in front, you've got to add all of these, right? So 2x plus negative 2x is 0. Cancels out, right? If you ever get it where it doesn't cancel out, like if I put a minus sign on accident here, 2 minus negative 2, that's 4. Oh, we didn't get rid of one. This is called elimination because we're eliminating a variable, right? So then the next thing we'll do is negative 5 plus 4. Well, that's negative 1y. And 3 plus negative 4. That's negative 1 as well. Divide by negative 1 on each side, and we get y equals 1. Okay? Again, a one-step equation after you eliminate that variable. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that 1, and we're going to plug it in for y. You can do it in either of these two. I always try to pick the easier one, so I'm actually going to put it in the bottom one here because it's a positive here. So then I've got negative 2x plus 4 times 1 equals negative 4. Make sure that you take the whole thing though. So the negative 2 goes here, the plus 4 times y, which is 1, and then equals negative 4. You can't mix and match these, alright? So let's simplify this. 4 times 1 is 4. To get rid of the 4, we'll subtract 4 from both sides. I'll bring down my negative 2x, and then that's going to equal negative 8. Then I'll divide by negative 2 on both sides, and I get x equals 4. So my solution is 4, 1. So just because we eliminated the x in both of these doesn't mean you always have to eliminate the x. If you look down, let's see,